Have you ever had a first date that you thought went really well, only for it to go no further and you never see the woman again? Now, ladies, have you ever thought, oh, that was a lovely date, but actually I just, on balance, didn't really feel any kind of chemistry or connection to him, so it's not worth my time to see him again? This is what I call the misconnection. I think so many amazing men and women miss each other in the early stages of dating due to mismatched expectations and not quite communicating in a perfect way. Here's the deal, and I say this, I work with men and women. I'd like to think I'm Switzerland of dating, okay? I'm not taking sides. Women often go into dates with an emotional frame of reference, which is, did this date feel like someone I could really connect with? Can I see myself having a sexual or long-term romantic relationship with this guy in the future? So women can be very feelings driven and also have quite a high set of expectations where they're referencing date one against, can I see this guy as my future partner? Now, there's many great men out there who completely miss these notes or these set of expectations and kind of go, well, you know, we had a nice date, the conversation was fine, I said I'd like to see her again, I planned it, job done. Now, I don't want women missing out on great guys that are out there just because they're not the most smooth, polished, or exciting on a first date. And likewise, I don't want great guys out there being missed by women because perhaps you're playing it a bit safe or not really recognizing what she wants. A well-organized, confidently led first date makes a huge difference and impact. Women are relatively allergic to dates that feel ill thought out, badly planned, or where the woman feels like she has to really push for the date to happen. It kind of kills the romance right off the bat. If a guy is hanging back on inviting for the date and seems to want to chat and chat and chat, but isn't asking a woman out, there's a really strong possibility there that he's waiting for a clearer or bigger sign of certainty before he makes his move. Guys, you're not going to get the sign. Instead, I want you to make that move a little bit quicker and more affirmatively. Ask for the date sooner than you would normally dare. This is really important to show a woman that you are purposeful, you're not here to mess around, and you're clear that you like her. Secondly, when you're setting up the date, absolutely say, when's good for you next week, or what's your schedule like next week? Once you get that date from her, let her know either you'll come back to her with a plan or suggest a specific venue and time. You can wrap this up by saying, how does that work for you? So you can still seek her to acknowledge that that's okay, but most women will really enjoy you taking the leadership on the date and actually being bold enough and also confident enough in your own decision making to choose the time and the location. For example, you could say, let's meet at 7. I know a great cozy place for drinks and dinner. And hey, if we get on, there's an even nicer place for dessert around the corner. What you're doing here is you're giving her a clear plan for the date. This builds trust and confidence. And also, it's just one of those really simple ways that you step into that masculine leadership role and help her to feel like this is a date. First dates can feel tough, particularly if you've had a string as a guy that haven't actually gone anywhere. Time to do a really hardcore reset here and to loosen up. On your way to the date, make sure you have plenty of social conversations, whether that's with a barista or chat to a friend on the phone. Get really socially warmed up. Early on in the date, when you meet her, practice candor and informality. For example, to avoid going into question mode where you become an interviewer, where it feels very formal and stiff. Instead, actively share with her how your week's going, what you were up to that day, and include emotions in how you're talking. So you can have a massive smile on your face, but be like, oh my gosh, I don't know about you, I have had the craziest week. I am like needing this dinner and drinks. So that emotional candor and warmth is going to help to set the tone of informality and connection early on. Also, be cautious here not to get too much into your head. You may have this idea of how a perfect first date conversation could go. You may have even tried to memorize really great questions to ask her. But remember, if you are not present, if you are trying to think about your next move in your mind rather than actually being with her there in the moment, this is going to come across as analytical and disconnected. Instead, often the way to stay connected is to articulate what you're feeling in that moment. For example, if the venue's suddenly super noisy and you can't hear her, that's a great topic of conversation. You could say, look, I'm a real introvert, so I'm going to confess to you now, bars are not my scene. And I know I chose this place, but God, no one told me there was going to be a bachelor party here. I really want to hear you, so I think we should move on. That simple, direct candor does a lot to create emotional connection and bring her into your world. The best conversations are when you're in the present moment with her. The worst conversations are when you're trying to over-rehearse it in your own head. Now, this is a date, and because of that, how you interact with the woman should feel date-like as opposed to just friendly. Now, you can do this in tons of different ways, and here's some easy ones. Firstly, you can use a bit of old school chivalry. I would dare to open the door for her, tell her that she can take the better seat, and suggest what you love to order on the menu. If the woman is like, I can open my own door, thank you very much, you could say, point taken, chivalry rewound, I'm here for it. You know, riff with this and play with that as an emotional response, but step into a role of leadership with her. Secondly, if you like something about her, you have to tell her. Lots of guys think, well, I've asked her out on another date, so it's obvious I like her. Trust me on this one, women will need the verbal recognition of that and for you to state what you like about her. This doesn't mean you hit her with 10,000 compliments. It just means you choose one thing that you've enjoyed about her and the experience of talking to her, and you verbalize it. For example, you say, I like how you go on these kind of epic monologues, but I can tell you're so passionate about what you're talking about. That will help her to feel like you've truly engaged with her and you're there because you like her, not just because you need a date. Finally, probably the easiest thing that you can do to signal intent clearly isn't to wait 2 days and send her a message after the date. It's at the end of the date, just say, look, I've really enjoyed seeing you today and I'd love to take you out again. That takes balls, it takes courage, because you know, you're gonna have to face up to her being a bit less certain or maybe going, I'm not so sure. However, remember, women's attraction is often a reaction. If you can be cool, calm, and clear about what you'd like to happen, that helps her to feel certainty and safety with you and will actually switch more attraction on so she can see you more as a romantic partner. So remember, if there are any ladies watching this video, I love to work with you as well. And just remember, often the best guys out there, they may not be the most polished or the most confident on a first date. Often confident and polished on a first date can equal player. So I would say if you have a shred of doubt about this guy, if you quite enjoy his company, give him the possibility to shine more on date 2 and date 3. And for the guys out there, remember, taking the right amount of risk, communicating more clearly, and saying how you're thinking and feeling will really help her to understand where you're coming from on the date. Don't just assume that she gets it because you brought her around her drinks and you've messaged her to meet again. Instead, get better at verbally communicating where you're at to create that impact that she desires. Now, if you're a man or a woman and you would love to know about how you can have stronger first dates, and also, crucially, who should you go on a second date with? I would love to hear from you. You can click on the link beneath this video.